After it was discovered that he was attempting to get a judge to find in favor of him in the New York case, Donald Trump found himself in grave difficulty. I'll go over everything in detail in this video. Please click the subscribe button and enable notifications before I begin, so that you can be informed as soon as we publish any breaking news. I'm grateful. One surprising discovery in the $250 million lawsuit against former President Donald Trump was the substantial payment made to New York University accounting professor Eli Bartov for his expert testimony on financial matters. The Big Cheat author David K. Johnston brought attention to the developments on CNN's Anderson Cooper 360, emphasizing Bartov's testimony that Trump was a model leader in spite of accusations from New York Attorney General Letitia James that she used widespread fraud to build her real estate empire. Johnston said, "To be honest, I was surprised by the testimony of this very prominent accounting professor as an expert witness." Johnston was taken aback by Bartov's salary. Bartov's compensation of over $500,000 has drawn criticism, as it exceeds the average expert witness price range of $25,000 to $60,000, according to a Raw Story article published on Thursday, December 7. Johnston questioned the legitimacy of the Trump's large payments, highlighting glaring instances of deception in Bartov's assertions. "This is not an ordinary expert witness you bring in," he continued. "It's a big sum of money." In court, Bartov steadfastly upheld Trump's financial reputation, asserting that he would score an A on his financial statements if Trump were a student in his class. Bartov commended the financial documents of the Trump Organization, saying they offer a remarkable quantity of information and reiterating, "There was no fraud here," according to ABC News. Although Bartov was an expert on accounting principles, former Manhattan Assistant District Attorney Karen Friedman Agnifilo voiced worry over Bartov's position, stressing that the judge should have the last say on whether or not fraud existed. She emphasized that it is the judge's power to discover fraud and remarked, "He could have been talking about technical accounting principles." In response to Bartov's testimony, trial judge Arthur Engoron reiterated his earlier finding that Trump and his business had engaged in fraud. In the past, Engoron issued orders imposing sanctions on Trump, including revoking his company license and designating an impartial observer to supervise the Trump Organization's activities. He can declare what he thinks something has value or what equation should apply to it, but how does he know whether something was a mistake or not, whether it was accidental? Agnifilo said, emphasizing the judge's responsibility. This highlights the contentious nature of Bartov's evidence, as scholars of law are skeptical of the professor's claim that Trump's financial dealings were devoid of fraud. As the trial progresses, the judge's assessment of Bartov's reputation and his high appearance fees will heavily influence the importance of his testimony. As the complexity of Trump's finances and the expert opinions offered become crucial components in the pursuit of justice, the trial continues to garner attention. Please share your thoughts on this news with us in the comments box. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and give us a thumbs up. Former President Donald Trump drew media attention with a heated tirade outside the courthouse, where he angrily criticized Judge Arthur Ongran, who oversaw his fraud trial. Trump, refusing to be distracted from his legal struggle, brushed off questions about his incendiary remarks from the previous night's debate. He denounced the accusations against him as an unprecedentedly large-scale witch hunt, all the while maintaining a dramatic flair. In a recent court appearance, Trump fielded a flurry of inquiries about the critiques leveled at him during the contentious debate, as well as his bold assertion that he had aspirations to rule as a dictator from the beginning. Unfazed by the criticism, Trump deftly shifted the conversation back to the trial, rejecting the accusations and denouncing the entire procedure as unjust and biased. In a furious tirade, Trump called the Attorney General unpredictable and unreasonable and accused her of directing a biased trial. Even before the trial started, he voiced his displeasure with Judge Jin's decisions, accusing her of partiality and improper behavior. Trump fiercely disputed the value of his assets, claiming that the overwhelming weight of the evidence supported his innocence and attacking the judge's handling of the case. Trump resolved to fight back against what he saw as an unfair legal battle, refusing to back down and remaining defiant in every phrase. Trump's acrimonious altercation in court occurred concurrently with his continued battle against Judge Ongran's restraining order, which has limited his social media misadventures and remarks regarding the trial. The lower court affirmed the restriction, so the former president decided to appeal it to the New York Court of Appeals. This injunction resulted from accusations of harassment and anti-Semitic remarks sent to Judge Ongran's clerk, Allison Greenfield, following Trump's online tweets that highlighted the judge and his staff. Concurrently, with the shadow of federal and state accusations hanging over him, Trump faces legal obstacles designed to prevent him from appearing on the ballot in many states in 2024. Republican attorneys general were part of a coalition that filed legal challenges contesting Trump's constitutional ability to appear on Colorado's ballot in 2024. Voters who disputed Trump's role in the attack on January 6 filed a legal challenge citing an insurrection provision that prevents officeholders involved in insurrection from holding public office again, which originated this appeal. The legal battle intensified when Judge Sarah B. Wallace said that the 14th Amendment Section 3, which forbids people who took part in insurrection from holding public office, did not apply to the presidency, even though she acknowledged Trump's purported involvement in an uprising. As a result, both sides filed instant appeals after fiercely criticizing the decision as illogical and ridiculous. Trump's attorneys quickly filed a petition with the U.S. Supreme Court to examine many facets of the case, strongly disputing the finding that the previous president was involved in the purported uprising. With continuous courtroom disputes, unrelenting appeals, and strong hurdles that seriously impede his political ambitions and future participation in elections, Trump's legal battles have only gotten more intense. Scott Jesser, the lawyer representing Donald Trump, came under heavy fire when he attempted to refute the January 6 U.S. Raw story on Thursday, December 8, 2023, and claimed that the attack on the Capitol was considered an insurrection. Jesser's assertion that an uprising must last for a long time, along with his later admission of fabricating that term, received harsh criticism. The Colorado Supreme Court was debating an appeal that contested the 14th Amendment in an attempt to keep Trump off the 2024 presidential ballot when these arguments took place. CNN covered this courtroom exchange, revealing Jesser's strange attempt to overturn a decision from a lower court that labeled Trump's acts as an uprising but denied protection under the 14th Amendment to sitting presidents. Jesser argued unwaveringly that the uprising had to last for more than 3 hours. The justices took issue with this statement, questioning the source of his imposed restrictions on the meaning of rebellion. The justices' criticism of Jesser's limitations, including Encyclopedia Britannica's classification of the January 6 incident as an insurrection, made the situation more tense. In response to a question concerning the origin of his understanding, Jesser openly acknowledged, "We're all sort of making it up at the end of the day." What are your thoughts on this matter? Kindly share your thoughts, and let's have a discussion in the comments. People following the court proceedings were amused and outraged by this statement, which went viral on social media. "So, basically, yeah, I got nothing, but he definitely didn't do it," sarcastically summarized commenters like Bill Deo. A user by the name of Amy jokingly referred to legal representation as Trump's law firm. Do we cheat, and how? Jesser's defense ran into more difficulties when he claimed that the rioters on January 6 were not armed to the extent necessary to overpower the police. Judge William Hood refuted this assertion by emphasizing the significant harm inflicted by improvised weapons and highlighting that the incident resulted in injuries to over 100 cops. The debate continued as to what constitutes true rebellion and how that would affect their decision-making. Jesser then ventured into uncharted territory, comparing it to the well-known adage regarding explicit content: "I may not have a precise definition, but I can unmistakably recognize it when it crosses my path." This analogy, however, left the courtroom clouded in doubt, raising questions about the veracity of Jesser's claims as well as the sincerity of his attempts to downplay the seriousness of the January 6 uprising. As the New York lawsuit finally ends and Trump loses everything in spite of his best efforts, he is still in tears. This news will brighten your day, so please watch through to the finish. Please take a few moments to click the subscribe button below and enable the notification bell so that you can receive our most recent information before we move forward. On Thursday, former President Donald Trump returned to the New York court for his common misrepresentation preliminary. As the case proceeded toward a decision, his defense team carefully examined its most recent master observer. Trump has attended the preliminary 8 times since it started on October 2, including the time he self-affirmed on November 6. He got into a fight with Judge Arthur Ongran that day, dodging questions and receiving reprimands. In order to obtain favorable rates on loans and insurance, Trump, 2 of his children, and their business are accused of engaging in a long-term extortion scheme, including massive distortions of Trump's wealth. All of them have denied any wrongdoing. On Thursday, Eric Trump went to court with his father. The former president watched as his attorney questioned Eli Bartov, an accounting professor from New York College, regarding the significance of property valuations in the financial statements that are the central focus of the deception case. He stated that there was no evidence of accounting fraud during the call and that the claims regarding the financial situation were not misquoted word for word. "So, your expert opinion is that the chief legal officer's protest was unfounded from a bookkeeping perspective?" And the judge asked. "This is an evaluation in its entirety," Bartov replied. Although Bartov acknowledged that Trump's penthouse in Trump Tower in Manhattan had a higher value than stated in his financial summary, he attributed the discrepancy to an error in the assessment, which he claimed was typical. In 2017, Forbes magazine disclosed that Trump's three-story loft was, as of this writing, less valued and only around 33% the size that he had long claimed, roughly 11,000 square feet as opposed to over 30,000. In a 2019 New York State lawsuit against Exxon, Bartov provided expert testimony. But Kevin Wallace, an attorney representing New York principal legal officer Letitia James, contended that Bartov's opinions had no bearing on the evidence that was used in the trial. He and another James lawyer criticized Bartov's capacity to offer advice on credit analysis and financial choices pertaining to privately held companies. During an early break in the day, Trump paused and examined the sketch court artist Jane Rosenberg had created. "Nice," he remarked, as reported by Rosenberg. Shortly after, he celebrated an appellate court's ruling to extend an October 6 order that prevented Trump's organization from dissolving while the trial was ongoing. That order resulted from a pretrial decision on September 26, which found that Trump and the organization were guilty of fraud. Trump declared, "I think it's something extraordinary for the country and extremely amazing." How do you feel about this topic? Kindly share your thoughts, and let's talk about them in the comments. The appellate court ruling was hailed by Trump, who said, "That decision is exceptionally strong." In a statement to CBS News, his attorney, Christopher Kai, also praised the decision. President Trump especially appreciates the court's reasoning and decision from today, as it paves the way for a genuinely necessary and thoughtful assessment of the trial court's numerous mistakes, Kai said. "You really should be ashamed of yourself," Wallace responded, raising his voice in opposition to some of Bartov's statements, calling them pure supposition from someone they recruited to say out loud whatever it is they require. Tensions in the court eventually broke out in the early afternoon. "You fabricate statements that are untrue. Here, I am to speak the truth. You should feel embarrassed for the way you spoke to me." Later, Bartov provided testimony that supported Trump's own statement from November 6 regarding this matter, saying that the claim at the core of the case cautioned banks to utilize them at their own risk. Bartov remarked, "This is like the Surgeon General's warning on a pack of cigarettes." Later on, he explained that a disclaimer in the statements meant to conduct your own research and develop your own estimate. "Nothing was clearer to me than that. That language is understandable even to my 99-year-old granddaughter," Bartov remarked. As Bartov commended Trump's financial reports, the president sat with an intense focus. Bartov remarked, "I've never seen a statement that is so straightforward and gives so much detail. The footnotes offer an amazing quantity of information," Bartov said, peppering his statement with scathing critiques of the top legal officer's position, calling it silly multiple times. "It's hard to argue. It's incredibly dumb to argue that personal financial statements are the basis on which Deutsche Bank, or any bank or lender, makes lending decisions," he declared. "They are unable to decide based on just 20% of the available data. This should be the end of the case," Bartov stated. Let us know what you think in the comments section below while you wait. Please give us a thumbs up if you thought this video was insightful.